This was a Thursday. I remember because we cut summer school. Back then, summer school was not off on Fridays. It was Monday through Thursdays. I go back to school that weekend. I guess she been trying to call me, but I've been at basketball camp. And she told me, she says, "Oh, we're gonna go back and get their money. Let's go to
So
the."
you were balancing these two
Yeah,
lives
yeah. She said, "Let's go back and get
and
their money."
still wanting to do basketball,
Yeah,
still wanting to do.
yeah. Because Christ the King told me I can come back if I get good grades in summer school. They said they'll give me another chance for the 10th grade. So okay, I went and she called me a Sunday and she was like, um, "My parents are sending me down south." And I was like, "Oh no, like no, we can't have that happen." So we came up with the plan to say that the guys raped her, so her parents would feel bad and keep her here. Now I knew something was wrong with that plan. I didn't really want to do that. She said, "Meet me at the precinct in a couple hours." I said, "Okay." I never showed up. Monday morning, all her Crip friends, I went to Benjamin Banneker. They called my name. I came out in the hallway and they all beat me. All the Crip girls beat me real bad. And they the first thing I did, jumped up and I put the fire extinguisher on them because I'm like, "What's going on?" I was swollen, my mouth was busted. I'm like, "What happened?" She's like, "You got my friend raped." I said, "What? What I do?" They automatically called the cops. And I couldn't understand. I'm calling her phone. She's not answering me. She's not answering me. I'm like, my mom comes. I'm confused. Like, I'm like, what is she talking about? The story was, and I found out later that day, the cops came. I had detectives. They had on these suits. I never forget. They came to my house. This was, I'm gonna say, July. My birthday. I was 14. My birthday is July 17th. I turned 15. Detectives came to my house to speak to my dad. It was a white one, a black one. I never forget. They showed me pictures of these two gentlemen that was at the house, and they asked me, "Do I know them?" Of course, I'm gonna lie and say no, I don't know them because you never supposed to agree with the cops. So I said no, I don't know them. They went on MySpace at the time, mind you, it's 2007. They seen me, the young lady, the guys all on the beach with guns in our hand. They
Mm.
said that's your first lie. The detective, the white detective, my father ended up getting about the fight because he's saying, "You're dumb. You're gonna take up for these little, assholes or whatever." So I'm crying because I don't know what to do. I then get that phone call after they leave. They said, "We'll keep in touch." I get the phone call from the guys and they basically told me, "If you say anything and you go with this," they said the B word, they said, "We're gonna kill your family." So I'm thinking like, first of all, I don't want my family to know what I'm doing. I was more mad that they knew that I cut school and that I was dealing with boys and I was not having sex, but having sex. So I'm like, I didn't know, I was young. So I'm like, "You're gonna kill my family." So I'm not gonna say nothing. Boom. This is October of 2007. I get a call. My family getting called. I remember this because this is when we ain't have the internet. You had to take the phone, plug it in the wall. So I was on the phone, I was on the computer, and they said, "Come down to the precinct." They told my parents to come down to the precinct with me. I came down to the precinct. I went to the precinct. I'll never forget this day. I was hungry. My mom got me a drink, some heroes. They was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. She's just gonna ask some questions." 5 hours later, they said we have to take her to Central Bookings, something called Central Bookings. My parents was crying, like, why she got to go to Central Bookings? I went to Central Bookings. I seen it was disgusting. They handcuffed me to a chair separately because I was a minor. Next thing I know, they said we have to take her to Spofford. I didn't know what was going on. They took me to Spofford. My bill was 15,000, 15,000 over 15,000 or something like that. My parents paid it after 30 days. I was in there. When I came home, I remember my father bought me a sidekick slide. He's like, "Everything gonna be okay." I end up going to Supreme Criminal Court. My judge was Judge Parker. I will never forget this. I had Harvey Herbert as a public attorney because my family couldn't afford an attorney. Next thing I know, I was being charged with accessory to rape. Me and the guys, one of the guys was in the army. He got dishonorably discharged. So we all here like, "What?" I'm calling her phone. She's not answering me. Her boyfriend ended up picking up the phone one day. I said, "Why would you do it?" He said, "She don't want to talk to you. You should have complied. This comes with the territory." So I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "All right." At this time, I'm still blood. I'm still gang banging, but I'm like, nah, this it don't work like that. Like this is not like this was my big homie. She brought me home. She taught me everything I know. I adored her. She wouldn't do this to me. But I'm young, so I'm thinking it's a game. Like this comes with it. Whatever. I'm tough. I'm in jail, right? Okay. I end up fighting this case for 2 years. Judge Parker told me that as long as I continue to go to school and get good grades, that she'll let me off interim probation, which is a 5-year probation for kids. If you do good, they'll let you off and they'll wipe your slate clean when you turn 18. During that time, it was too late. At 17 years old, I met the first guy that I ever enjoyed. I got my virginity taken a year later at 15. I didn't like it. It was the most horrible thing. But I kept having sex. I kept having sex with older boys. For some reason, older boys are the ones who like me, not really younger boys. So I did it because I couldn't say no. Every time somebody said, can I have sex? Can we have sex? I said yes because I wanted them to like me. So um after that, I finally met a guy that I actually wanted to have sex with. His name was Devon, and we were like Bonnie and Clyde. He was 103rd Grape Street Crip, and I was Blood. We met this guy named um Drama. He was the leader of Haitian Mafia Crip. He was one of the scariest men in East New York. He came with these two girls. They were Crip. They was twins, Kesey and Kiana. They was the most scariest girls I have ever seen in my life. Like when I say thug gangsters, like, and I was petrified of them. And for some reason, they took to me. They liked me. They like me. Don't usually like, um, they call me slobs. That's what they call as a disrespectful man of the Bloods. And they was like, well, we like you. So I was like, thank God, because I'm playing in this role. Like I'm not really like I will do it, but my heart, after I do something to somebody, I feel like crap. They actually live this life. I'm over here pretending to be something that I'm really not. So I'm fighting this charge. I finally, Judge Parker called me. I had my last day. She's like, you know what? You've been doing your thing. I'm gonna let you off. Me and Devon got into it. It was a big brawl. I couldn't take it no more because I feel like I done sacrificed so much for him. He done disrespected my parents, and I just lost it. I went outside and I kept stabbing him and I kept stabbing him and I cut his face, I cut his neck, I cut his ear. I just kept cutting him and I was just angry because I just felt like, how dare you kind of mess with another girl? You think I messed with God when I did all of this for you, and then I let you go after you cheated on me and you throw glass at my parents' house. You call my mom house with females, calling them all types of bees. You disrespect my house. And I tell people that I said, I don't care what you do to me, but when it comes to my loved ones and my family, I'm gonna lay my life down every time. So my mom was screaming, crying. I was leaving the door and I heard a glass. I know it was Devon. My mom was like, please no, please no. She got my father. But at this point, I was uncontrollable. You can't control me. I left the house in all black, went to East New York by myself with my knife, and I was looking for him. I knocked on all the doors or his homeboy doors. Nobody answered. I finally knew where he was. I seen the girl come out. I hit her. She was scared. His homeboy didn't do nothing, and I just closed my eyes. Grabbed he had on a merm. I grabbed it. I ripped it, cut it open. His face. When I looked up, it was blood everywhere. So I just took off. Pew. I went to the C train. Took off. Next thing I know, no, I ran after him first, and then I went the other way. Next thing I know, his grandmother was calling my moms and stuff. I end up going to I ended up getting locked up the next day. They called me down. I knew what time it was. I got locked up. This time they take me to Rikers Adolescent Building, Building 6. I go to Building 6. I'm in that building. I'm calling his phone, like, why would you da 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 da? Like, I'm leaving voicemails. I get somebody says, you have a legal counsel. I go there. They're like, yo, he died. I'm like, he didn't die. They're like, yes, he did. Boom. I'm crying because I'm like, what did I do? I get another phone call. Well, when we go downstairs to legal counsel, I call my parents or whatever. They come and see me again, and they like, he didn't die. He convulsed, something like that. He convulsed. They brought him back. He lost too much blood. They're getting you for attempted murder. I'm like, they said it's better than murder. They was only gonna give me 5 years. That's what they were saying. Then they said no, it's assault on the first, and I never knew that assault on the first is worse than attempted murder. I didn't know that, and they said it was. So I'm like, okay. Then I'm working on my second felony. I called the other big homies, and I was angry, and I did something I shouldn't have. I called the big homies. I told them where his grandmother stayed and his sisters, and I told them to go shoot up the house. They went and shot up the house. His grandmother's sister was okay, but I shouldn't have did that. I was upset, and I did that.
So, um, here's what I want to do a little bit of. And I want to thank you for just your transparency and for your emotions. Those were a lot of hellish situations.
Mhm.
And really, what strikes me about your story, which I know there's still a lot more too, that has a lot to do with trauma and pain, and ended up with you doing how many years?
10 altogether.
10. And you did them where?
Taconic first, then they shipped me. No, yeah, Taconic. Then they shipped me to Bedford. Then they shipped me to Albion.
And how old were you when you started that 10-year sentence?
17.
Right. So a lot of what you went through, um, you started to experience at the age of 14.
Mhm.
And still, 17, you're a child.
Mhm.
I mean, we've done studies about what they call brain development
Mhm.
in children, and that our brains really don't develop into your mid 20s, that you really begin to have a fully formed brain that allows you to think more rationally
Mhm.
and less under the influence. And a 14-year-old child who has gone through everything that you had to endure, and the only response to that was a system who thought that you deserved nothing but incarceration. And so these are the reasons why we wanted to do the work that we do at the National Council, because we wanted to find some way to create some way for there to be a way for us to identify and to support, because albeit you considered them, the ops or enemies or the other gang,
Mhm.
these were all also people that had experienced a significant amount of trauma
Mhm.
and whatever the others were in their lives, because there's that old saying, hurt people,
Mhm.
right? And if we don't figure out a way to circumvent that hurt, and to also help our children to understand the value and the beauty in all of you,
Mhm.
we have children who won't understand that.
It's funny that you say that because the first time, besides the one I ever endured, and I just want to share this with people. Like, um, I am a lesbian, and people always, guys say why. The first time I really enjoyed sex was from women. That's the first time that they took their time with me. When I was dealing with guys, and they just did their thing, and that's it. The first amazing experience I enjoyed was in jail, and women makes me feel safe. You know what I mean? Like, besides my dad, I'm really not safe around. I don't feel too safe around, men. There's a couple of best friends that I have that I know, and cousins now, but um, people ask me if I had a chance to do it all over again, would I do it? And I'm gonna say yes, because
Meaning
prison
all of
taught me.
those experiences you just talked about, or
Like, they said, would you take your prison time back? I said no.
would you take your prison time back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the I feel like if I didn't go to jail, I'd have been dead though.
Hmm.
That's why I'm like, I w- I w- I'm not gonna lie, I miss a lot of stuff, and I'm 32 years old, and I don't feel like a 32-year-old. I feel like a 20-something-year-old. Like,
Hmm.
I feel like I'm not as smart as the regular 30-something-year-old. I feel like when they put me in prison, right? I was already a 17-year-old who didn't know much, because all my parents taught me was to go to school and play basketball. I didn't know how to clean correctly. I didn't know how to I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to damn near put my pad on correctly. I'm gonna be honest. When I went to jail, those were my first experiences. A female taught me how to put a tampon in. A
Hmm.
female taught me how to clean correctly. A female taught me how to cook. When I went to jail, I originally got my jail moms, and they told me everything. And I met some of the most beautiful people. One being Pam Smart, one being Tammy
Hmm.
Eldridge,
Hmm.
one being Remy. Like,
Hmm.
I met the most wonderful women, and it's like